Hola mis amigos, hello my friends. Tengo un cuento para ustedes. I have a story for you. A story about amigos, friends, best friends. The first friend was named Señor Jose, and he lives all the way over here. His best friend was Señor Juan, and he lives all the way over here. They lived on the other side of town from each other, but they were best amigos, friends. Now, they lived in their own little houses. Shh, shh, shh. And one morning, temprano, very early, Señor Juan woke up. He opened his front door, shh, popped his head out, closed the door. He didn't want to let in las moscas, the flies, shh. And he thought, voy a ir a ver mi amigo. I'm going to see my friend. And he set out on his way. He went up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Boy, they live a long way around. When he finally got to his friend's house, he went to the front door and knocked. And he called out, Señor Jose. ¿Quieres ayudar? You want to help him? Okay, good. Call out with him. Señor Jose. There was no answer. So he went around to the back door, knocked at the back door, and called out again. Help him. Señor Jose. And that's when he heard, está dormido. He's sleeping. I have to go home. We'll have to play another time. And so that's what he did. Señor Juan started on his way home. He went up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. By the time he got home, he was ready for a little rest himself. He opened his front door, popped inside, closed the door, and he didn't want the moscas, the flies, to get in. Had a little drink and a little snack, and he decided to take una siesta, a nap. But just then, that's right, his friend, Señor Jose, woke up. He opened his front door, popped his head out, closed the front door. He didn't want moscas to come in, flies to get inside. And he thought, hoy será un buen día. Today would be a good day para jugar con mi amigo Juan, to play with my friend Juan. So he started going all the way to Señor Juan's house. He went up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. By the time he finally got there, he was getting a little tired. He knocked on the front door, and he called out, ready? Señor Juan. There was no answer. He rang the doorbell. Ding dong, ding dong. And he called out again, Señor Juan. He heard something. He must still be taking a nap. Well, Señor Jose went back home. He went up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. He was tired by the time he got there. He opened his front door, se metió dentro, he went inside, closed the door, didn't want any moscas, flies to get inside. And so he decided to take a little rest. He took a cold drink of water, a little snack, and he decided to take a rest. But then, later that afternoon, al mismo tiempo, at the very same time, they both decided to go outside. They opened their front doors al mismo tiempo, at the very same time. They popped their heads out at the very same time. They even closed their doors at the same time. And they decided to see if the other one was ready to play. How did they go? They went up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. On the top of the hill, they saw each other. Oh, Señor José, Señor Juan, my friend, mis amigos están juntos. My friends are together, yay. Oh, they were so happy to see each other. They gave each other hugs. Yes, just like that. And they danced around and they began to play. In fact, they even began to roll down the hills and then climb back up again. And roll down the hills and climb back up again. Oh, they had so much fun playing around that day. Ah, the best times. But the day grew later and it was time to go home. And oh, they gave each other one more hug. Oh, mi amigo, my friend, my friend. And they said, hasta mañana, Jose. And his friend said, that's right, see you tomorrow, Juan. Hasta mañana, see you tomorrow. And they set off towards home. You know how they went. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. Up the hills and down the hills, arriba y abajo. They were tired by the time they got home. They opened the doors, se metieron adentro, they went inside, closed the doors, and they got ready for bed. After a nice supper and reading a good story, they were ready to go to sleep so they could get up early the next day and start all over again, playing with their best friend. Colorín colorado, este cuento se ha acabado. 3, 2, 1. This story is all done. But yours is just beginning. Thanks for joining me today. And you know, if you want to make your own story, you can retell it yourself. All you need are your thumbs and a little imagination, or you can make your own finger puppets. You can do that for any story you want. Really, all you need is a little piece of paper. I like to use a sticky note. You can borrow one from Mom and Dad maybe. Here's the side that's not sticky and here's the side that is. And you don't need any glue or scissors. You just fold over one side of the paper about 1/3 of the way because you're going to make a rectangle. Then, when you have that, this sticky side is how you're going to hold it together. Fold that over the top to finish your rectangle. And look up, push it down. It sticks and you've made the base of the puppet. In fact, it looks like a little tube. You can even make that into a periscope. So now that we have the base, that's the body, we have to make the head. We're going to fold the top down, folding the top down to like a little bit of a square. Very good. And now we have to shape the face because we don't have square heads. So we're going to make some triangles. That's right. On the bottom, what will be the chin, fold it back up. There it is. I'm going to make some little triangles right in the top corner. There's one. Then we're going to make a little triangle over here. That's 2. So that when we fold it back, look at that. It looks like we have a little face. See? Just like that. We're going to do the same thing on the top of the head. But to shape it for a person, we're going to make the triangles facing back into the back of the head so you don't see it. And it just shapes the face like that. And the back of it will look like 2 little triangles. But now you have that and it's ready to decorate. All you need is you can make some eyes and maybe a nose and mouth. Decorate the front if you do some of that. Look at that. Oh, I have a little face here. We can do some hair. Or if you want to make an animal, just make your triangles facing the front. Look at that. It looks like, we've made ourselves a little piggy, right? Oink, oink, oink. Do 3 of them and you can tell the story of the 3 little pigs. You can add anything else you want onto it. You can decorate it. Here's a little puppy. I made the ears facing front, and I did spots for a Dalmatian. Or I could also make a little friend like this. So I did his hair and eyes and a mouth and nose, a bow tie, and even some hands. It's only limited by your imagination. Take the story and retell it in your own way. Thanks for joining me today.